The handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his elder brother Raila Odinga in March 2018 changed the political landscape in this country completely. And if you ask me, it was a blessing to Raila Odinga. I know so many people believe that the handshake was a bad idea. From where I am, that handshake was a blessing. I can't imagine where Raila Odinga would be today without that handshake. Probably he would be on the street, akikula tiagas. And his supporters would be probably in some hospital, nursing injuries. So the handshake, in my view, was a blessing to Raila Odinga because of the following reasons. Number one, it has provided Raila Odinga with a platform to access government. So today in this country, Raila Odinga can easily walk into any government office. And indeed, we've seen senior government officials walking to Raila Odinga's office for advice and opinion. It also means that his allies and friends cannot do business with government. And actually, that's why people always fight to win elections. So Raila Odinga has access to government today. Number two, his appointment as the High Representative for Infrastructure by the Africa Union was courtesy of the handshake. That appointment has provided Raila Odinga with a platform to network internationally. You can imagine how Raila Odinga has used that appointment. We've seen Raila Odinga mingling with the heads of states. Ultimately, some of these guys will be critical when he will be running for the presidency in 2022. And again, that handshake, number three, has now made Raila Odinga to be acceptable. Number three, that handshake has also made Raila Odinga to be accepted within the system. The system always had their doubts about Raila Odinga. But because of the handshake and because they've worked closely with him, I think they've now embraced him. And lastly, that handshake has also provided Raila Odinga with the opportunities for new grounds. Places like Central Kenya, where Raila Odinga would not even campaign previously. Now he can compete there. And even the deputy president, who was expected to win that particular ground, is today facing some resistance from the ground. So the handshake has been good for Raila Odinga. But I strongly believe that because of that handshake, Raila Odinga is actually committing some grave political mistake in his quest of becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya in 2022. So today I want us to look at some of the mistakes which I think Raila Odinga is committing as we head towards 2022 general election. And if you're watching this video for the first time, please, I want you to take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Now, back to the main issue. Raila Odinga has contested for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya almost 4 times, if I'm not wrong. 1997, I think he was just introducing himself. 2007, that was the first time now he was now contesting seriously, which he won, by the way. But the fact is he was rigged out. 2013, I'm not going to talk about it. And also 2017, I'm not going to talk about those two. And 2022, Raila Odinga is likely to be on the ballot. I know he has not declared his bid. He has insisted that he will only declare his bid after the passage of the Building Bridges initiative. But so far, Raila Odinga, from all indications, is going to go for the presidency. But I strongly believe that Raila Odinga is committing a lot of political mistakes since the last general election. The first mistake Raila Odinga is committing, in my view, or has committed, was burning the NASA bridge. We all know that in 2013, Raila Odinga contested under CORD Alliance. Then in 2017, Musalia Mudavadi joined. And now we had the NASA coalition. NASA coalition had almost 4 parties. We had Ford Kenya, we had ANC party, we had Wiper, and we had ODM. When Raila Odinga entered into the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga went into that handshake alone. Again, Uhuru Kenyatta, on the other side, also came to that handshake alone. Up to now, I still don't understand why they decided to go solo. Probably because they feared that Uhuru Kenyatta feared that Ruto was not going to allow the handshake. Also, Raila Odinga might have also feared that his partners were not going to accept that handshake. And of course, you remember the swearing in, and during that swearing in, most of the NASA partners decided not to attend. So Raila Odinga opted for the handshake alone. And my expectation was that after that handshake, he was going to carry along some of his partners. That has not happened. So basically today, NASA is dead. So the question is, where is Raila going to get the numbers to bridge the Kamba votes, if Kambas will follow Kalonzo Musyoka? Where is Raila Odinga going to get the numbers to bridge the votes which Moses Wetangula brought on the table? Of course, they might be negligible. You can argue like that. For example, the case of Moses Wetangula. Where is Raila Odinga going to get the numbers to bridge the gap, which is going to be caused by Musalia Mudavadi? Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta is coming and Central Kenya has the numbers. But up to now, there's still resistance from Central Kenya. If Uhuru was going to deliver the entire Central Kenya to Raila Odinga, then Raila Odinga probably would not need the partners. I don't know whether that was their initial calculation. But as things stand today, Central Kenya, Raila Odinga cannot bank on. Maybe 30% or 35%. But even if he gets 35%, I don't think that will be enough to cover for the loss of Kamba votes, the loss of some lawyer votes. Not all, but some. So I think the idea of banning NASA bridges was not right. In my view, Raila Odinga should have retained Moses Wetangula. Although, internally, if you talk with the people in the know around Raila Odinga, they'll tell you that Moses Wetangula was actually cutting deals on the other side without the knowledge of Raila Odinga. But again, you can argue that Raila Odinga was just right to break NASA, because with the NASA being in existence, it would mean that their coalition agreement was still going to be in existence. And probably in that NASA coalition agreement, Raila Odinga was not going to be the presidential candidate. So it was going to bring issues. So Raila Odinga probably decided to burn those bridges together with the agreements. But in my view, it might not have been the best move. Secondly, the second mistake I'm seeing Raila Odinga committing is over-trusting the system. Of course, Raila Odinga has contested for the presidency severally. He believes that his victory has always been stolen. I know so many people have issues with that, even on this platform. But let's not talk about 2013 or even 2017. 2007, Raila Odinga won the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. Tharaka Nithi, which registered, I think, was it 89,000 votes for Kibaki, did not even have 30,000 registered voters. So that's how the numbers were played with. But the fact of the matter is that Raila Odinga is currently over-trusting the system. The question is, what if the system will decide otherwise? What will happen to him? In my view, if Raila Odinga is serious, he should only declare his interest for the presidency if he's assured of the system support. Probably that's why he's over-trusting them. But without that assurance, the best option for Raila Odinga is going to be support someone else. But again, you don't have surety that even the other person is going to support will be supported by the system. So Raila Odinga is currently over-trusting the system. And in my view, that might not be the best political move for himself. Now, that's the second mistake I'm seeing Raila Odinga committing. The third mistake Raila Odinga is committing is owning the Building Bridges Initiative process. The handshake was a good idea. It brought Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga together. It lowered the political temperature in this country. Now, people were now free to conduct their businesses all over the country without any fear. There was stability. At least there's unity. I know Tanga guys will argue otherwise. But the fact of the matter is that without the handshake, this country was headed to the dogs. And even donors would not be pumping money into this country. That's the reality. And even corruption today would be thriving in this country without the handshake. That's the reality. because the country had collapsed. Then after that handshake, in their own wisdom, they came up with a 9-point agenda. And to address this 9-point agenda, they came up with the Building Bridges Initiative, which is actually to build bridges, despite the argument that some people are not part of it. But that process, in my view, ought to be owned by none other than President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Building Bridges Initiative process should be President Uhuru Kenyatta's baby, so that if it succeeds, Uhuru Kenyatta gets the credit. If it fails, Uhuru Kenyatta still gets the blame. But so far, Raila Odinga is owning that process. And just this week, Raila Odinga announced, last week, he announced in a church in Kawangware that he was going to receive, together with President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Building Bridges Initiative report, either this week or next week. Then kaboom, Kanzedena issued a statement that there are no such plans by the president. So basically, Raila Odinga was left with the egg on his face. Why is Raila Odinga trying to own the Building Bridges Initiative process? Is there any benefit by owning that process? The process is currently unpopular. Probably the reason why the system is not ready for the report to be out is that the NIS intelligence has told them that the country is still not ready for the Building Bridges Initiative. But Raila Odinga is owning that process. In my view, it's a political mistake for Raila Odinga to own the Building Bridges Initiative process. That process should be owned by Uhuru Kenyatta, so that Uhuru Kenyatta should be the one talking about the Building Bridges Initiative process, not Raila Odinga all the time. I don't know your thoughts on that, but I strongly believe that's a political mistake that Raila Odinga is committing. Number 4 is the narrative on issues in this country. Today in this country, the narrative is being owned by Tanga Tanga. So that you start a Building Bridges Initiative process, then Tanga Tanga hijack it, and then they carry the narrative. Raila Odinga has failed to counter that. In my view, Raila Odinga should be Raila Odinga of the past, owning narratives and owning issues. Take, for example, the war on corruption, which was a very good war, initiated by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, and part of the one of the 9-point agendas of the Building Bridges Initiative. So Uhuru Kenyatta started the war on corruption. Then within no minute, Team Tanga Tanga owned the narrative that the war on corruption was targeting the allies of the deputy president. Why? Because Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta allowed that. They started targeting only those perceived to be their allies. You talk of even this hustler narrative. You talk even of this hustler narrative and the dynasties. The deputy president has never supported anybody who is a hustler in his entire political life. You can say Raila Odinga supported Kibaki, but the deputy president and his team are currently owning that narrative. My neighbor's child, I don't know what chenye namfanya, but it's okay. People have kids all over. Now, I was saying that owning narratives in this country, Raila Odinga is currently losing narratives in this country. So the deputy president is carrying. That's why in one of my previous videos, I stated clearly that Raila Odinga must decide to even sponsor civic education to this country, so that Kenyans should not forget about where we are coming from. The deputy president is offering Kenyans what they want now. But what about where we are coming from and where we are heading to? So that history must be brought to the people. He's losing that narrative. And lastly is the war on corruption. I also strongly believe that the war on corruption or ideology is something which Raila Odinga has currently thrown out of the window. This is because NASA governors let me not even mention NASA governors. The ODM governors are being accused of corruption. None of them has been arrested. The other time when we had the COVID billionaires, ODM party came out very strongly to kind of issue a statement. And in that statement, most Kenyans interpreted it to mean that they were defending corruption. Why should that happen? If it's war on corruption, the way Raila Odinga used to fight for Eurobonds, Aror and Kimwarer, that's the exact energy he ought to have used to fight the COVID billionaires. That's the exact trend the party ought to have followed. So that any Kenyans who is undecided would look at ODM and Raila Odinga and say, okay, there's consistency on these guys. So let me go their direction. But that's currently not what's happening in this country. I don't know what you think. Let me read your thoughts on this matter. If you're watching this video for the first time again, please take a second or two and if you're watching this video for the first time, please take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Again, you can always reach me on my WhatsApp number, purely WhatsApp, which is 0777 741323. I know so many people are asking, Lee, how can we support the channel? If you want to support the channel in through contribution, simple, just WhatsApp me there. Then I can give you the number to use. Thank you guys, and please, may you enjoy your day.